Tesco, as you probably all know, we are the third largest retailer in the world. We have close to about 7,000 stores now world over, operating in about 12 countries, and across about 550,000 employees, and millions of club card loyalty members. From a revenue perspective, somewhere around $115 billion US, and coming up on about a century in operations. So one of the things that Philip Clark, our group CEO, talks about, the change from the first curve to the second curve. The first curve was all about space race. It's about getting and putting all those big box stores, all the way from 10,000 to 50,000 to 100,000 square foot shops. And what we see happening in the industry now is the increasing trend towards people moving away from the big box and trying to shop online, whether it's on the desktop or the mobile, and which we call as a second curve. So the transition from the first curve to the second curve is here and imminent for us. We're lucky in many ways in Tesco because Philip was the CIO, along with being the international CEO, and he's the group CEO now, and clearly sees the importance of technology in driving large, complex, distributed retail organization. So if you look at the consumer trends that are taking shape, not just in the developed markets, but also in the emerging markets, is the move towards multi-channel. And our definition of multi-channel really is, anyway, so multi-channel for us is, it's built on top of your physical plus digital. It's not just doing transactions online. It's not just doing transaction on the mobile, but it's really how do you marry the strengths of your 7,000 stores with what you can bring to your consumer, to a customer, online, right? And it includes the transactional aspects of the physical channel, the non-transactional aspects of the physical channel, the transactional aspects of the online channel, the non-transactional aspects of the online channel, and marrying it all up together, which makes multi-channel for us, right? So what we have done really is one of the core strategic objectives of Philip is to be the multi-channel retailer in the world, right? Which is very powerful. So what we do now is around allocation of the capital and putting our leadership in place across our operating businesses is all about multi-channel. So if you look at the trends that are out there, in terms of the category leader, I can't see the slides from here, but if you probably can see it better than me, is there's increasing penetration in each of the categories online. If you look at from 2008 to 2014 and the years to come, you'll probably see a significant move in probably in some categories more than the other. And add to that the penetration of the devices themselves, right? Whether it's the tablets or whether it is the phone devices, smartphones, and so on. And if you look at the digital natives and the digital immigrants, right? The people now are using, particularly the digital natives, that's the only thing that they know. Unlike some of us who come into this generation from a non-mobile or non-online world, that's the only way they react with the rest of the world. Whether it is whether they're on the social media site, whether they are just texting their friends or shopping, they spend enormous amount of time on their devices. And if just as another data point for us, so this last Christmas, if you look at the bottom left-hand side, and this was, I mean, we already knew this, but this was a massive eye-opener for everybody in the company, right? So if you look at Christmas, this last Christmas, Our like-for-like on our media, which is the media channel, which is really where we do the online music, online books, online movie streaming, went up by about close to 250%. Online general merchandise went up. Online grocery went up. Online, and the convenience channel went up by 1%, right? So this is all our express stores. And what's not on that chart is really we had a negative like-for-like sales on our large format stores. So the story, friends, that this chart tells us is that there is a significant shift in the consumer buying behaviors from using or shopping in the physical stores as it's been happened for the last any number of decades to where I think the next generation is going. And how do we as a retail community get ready for this trend? And it's here for us, and it's very imminent of how we address this, right? So the way we look at multi-channel is really giving a seamless experience to the customer, whether he or she is interacting with us in our physical stores or in our on any of our channels. So it's really anyhow, anywhere, anyhow is the phrase. So what we have done is using mobile in every aspect of the business. So some of the things that we do brilliantly well today is around content, which obviously most of us do, which is providing, inspiring the shopper, around providing the various possibilities of exciting the customer. And then the transaction bit itself, which is whether you are doing this scan as a shop, using your mobile devices, if you're in the store, or if you're on the go, ability for the customer to place orders, amend orders, and then finally the click and collect. So we do click and collect in close to 1,800 stores in the UK, which is massive. And this is just some of the things that the US is just doing some pilots around just now. And the reason I'm telling all of this is I think it's only a matter of time that all of this comes into the emerging markets, including India. So how can we in India learn from some of the things that are being already developed as templates or developed and implemented as scenarios? And one of the great things that has happened in India in the telecom space is we actually skipped the entire landline generation, right? So we all went to smartphones, and today we went to phones. I mean, today we have 900 million phone users, of which I think there are roughly about little over 100 million smartphone users. So if you just do the math, I think all of this is coming at us very quickly. So what can we do that we can learn from some of the developed markets? So some of the things that you'll see on the slide there is the things that we are already in pilot. For example, we now have on the mobile, we give the opportunity for the customers to find their products in the store. I mean, a 100,000 square foot shop can be quite challenging for people to go look for a specific product. So that's the My Store thing. How do you actually create a smart list of what you want to shop? How do you want to receive your personalized promotions on your mobile? How do you want to get your vouchers and coupons on your mobile? And then some of the exciting things that we're bringing to the customer is digital wallets. And we are in a better place because we also have a Tesco bank, so we're giving a more holistic experience to our customer by marrying the aspects of the bank with what they can do physically in the store, plus what they can do online. So this connected, holistic experience using a device and whether they're in the store or on the go is something that all our shoppers and customers will be looking for in days to come. And those are some of the examples of what we are trying to do or what we've already done, and hence the tagline, "The future is closer than you think." and how ready we are to actually give this experience to our customers in India. We started our online journey maybe in the 98, 99 is when Tesco's first online grocery was started. So it's about 15 years into the journey. And we have 50% of the UK's market share, which is a great thing. But along came general merchandise online after a few years, right? So we recreated the stack, the technology stack, the business model. We had to recreate the price, the customer, the order, all of that in a separate stack, because there's pressure from the business, there's pressure from the time to market perspective. Then came along clothing online, right? So we had to do it all over again for our brand, which is called F&F. And over a period of time, what happens in large established organizations and large retailing companies is you end up with a way to deal with the store, a way to deal with your multiple online channels, and then the last 2 or 3 years, we had the big proliferation of the mobile, right? So the easiest thing was to extend your online, doing scrapey, and give a similar look and feel. But then as the underlying technology with the mobile devices became more and more richer, customers were now expecting that you give them the same native look and feel ability, right? So the reason I'm telling you this story is the easiest part is to really create the online, the paint on the screen, if you will, right? The hard part is really looking underneath that. So my analogy is an iceberg. So what you see on the screen is 10% of it. The complexity is 90%, which is below the surface. Yeah. So as an organization, you really need to line up from a strategy perspective, from a structure perspective, and from an execution perspective to drive multi-channel leadership. So mobile is just one aspect of it, right?
Absolutely.
So what we are doing rather, is really decouple this complexity that's been out there for years and build those building blocks at a technology level as an key enabler. And because the technology is the platform these days, right? I mean, you look at eBay, you look at Facebook, these are businesses, but underneath that is strong technology. And that's where Tesco is going. I mean, it is the long pole in the tent now. And that's the shift from the first curve to the second curve. How do you start getting everybody thinking around making the fundamental shift of looking at things differently and driving it?